going on, guys? We're back. E3 2014, this Free For All podcast. I am Josh Barnett, along with Trey Elliott, Chuck Nally, and Evan Swafford. E3 2014, Sony, they're in the books. We got the first 4 conferences done. Uneven.
A bit?
A little bit uneven.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 45, so yeah, close to it. Definitely the longest conference of the day.
2 hours.
Okay.
We round up here.
It's still going. It's still going.
Fair enough.
So, overall takeaways, obviously very uneven show, but what do you guys feel?
A little disappointed, honestly. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were a ton of highlights. We're going to talk about several of them. But for me, and of course we'll probably talk about this over and over again tonight, but the middle of that show was rough. A lot of, oddly enough, focus on entertainment. They showed the Powers television show that is going to be coming to place for PlayStation Plus members maybe sometime next year. They haven't even cast it or anything.
They said it's December.
Of a year.
They said it's December of this year.
Yeah.
Of this year?
Yeah.
They did.
And they haven't cast it yet?
No.
They're in the
It's
process.
pre-production. But however,
Hey,
to
they
your
gave us,
point,
they
it
gave
seems
us
like
concept
a
art.
time.
I wasn't watching the conference. I just showed up a minute ago.
That's good. That's good.
The books are better.
awesome already. That
Anyway, yeah,
conversation.
Powers has been something that's been brought up at every TCA. We talked about those and upfronts as well, all the time for the past 4 or 5 years since it was optioned. But E3 not the place or not the time for a lot of these announcements.
Pretty sure you could have read the book series in the time it took for them to show that.
Yeah,
No kidding.
Brian Michael Bendis, the writer of Powers,
AKA Midget Kingpin.
he might have created the Kingpin in his own image, like a comic book god.
He's a fantastic comic book writer, for the record. But
He is, but yeah, he spent almost as much time as we've spent talking about it on stage, and that's more than E3 should ever have for a television.
Yeah, so it was lengthy, and it was also what we got to see of it was no trailer, no nothing, just some concept art or a piece of concept art.
A single piece.
So yeah, to me it was a weird thing to spend that much time on. They also followed that up with the Ratchet and Clank trailer for the movie.
Yeah.
They did of course mention that a game is coming too. It's the remastered original.
Yeah, and they
Ratchet
said it was
Clank,
going to
but-
be rivaling the best looking games on PS4 and have a bunch of new segments and whatnot. But at the same time, that
It was
is a
like an
15-year-old
afterthought.
game.
I was gonna say we didn't see anything. There was no trailer.
Yeah, it was
there
like,
was
oh yeah,
nothing.
this will look great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we're not going to compare too much to things, but I mean, Halo is a big TV thing that's coming out, and there was no time spent on that. There was just, I don't think shows need this much time or time at all at E3. I'm with you on that, Josh.
Yeah, they did that. They also talked about PlayStation Now and rolling that beta.
And that's a big thing.
It is. They spent too much time on that.
Time on it.
The one thing that they handled perfectly in terms of that half hour to 40 minutes where they just wasted kind of a lot of time was Project Morpheus.
Yeah.
You can't demo a VR headset on stage for a big crowd and get people to understand what they're seeing. So they just said, Project Morpheus is coming. It's at our booth. Come check it out. And here are these 3 new experiences that we haven't shown to people before.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty much nothing else you could do with Morpheus. But yeah, I mean, outside of that middle section, I think there were also a lot of exciting things for Sony as well.
I guess my only problem with it, great moments, and obviously, I mean, we get spoiled because, I mean, there's always great things, and there was a lot of great things come out of this. I guess I was hoping for more stuff I didn't already know about or wasn't an existing franchise.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of that, but I mean, still, obviously, I'm a massive Grand Theft Auto fan. Grand Theft Auto 5 coming into next gen. Shown on PlayStation, my God, it looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Batman,
Oh,
so
God,
much
yes.
stuff.
Batman looked
Yes.
awesome.
All of it.
The Last Guardian looked fantastic. Coming out holiday 2014. Team Ico was there. Talk about it.
It was just a black screen that said "scene deleted."
Yeah.
I give up. A game is never coming out.
Just here, you fools.
I give up. I really thought it would be there. That's my big disappointment. Aside from that half-hour moment of just weirdness that went on. But I do think that there were a lot of really good games. We mentioned Batman, and that trailer was
Well, Big
just...
Planet 3 was a big one.
So,
Coming out
yeah.
this year. I thought that was a big deal.
Did we
Yes,
confirm
that
that was
was
Media
snuck up.
Molecule? I didn't see when
I
they
didn't
said
see
it
a
came
Media
out.
Molecule logo anywhere.
Which is
for sure.
interesting. Sack animals, now a thing.
Sack birds and sack dogs.
Sack Grimace from McDonald's. He was one of the guys.
Sack
I didn't put that together, but that's very
What if it
true.
was just the McDonald's gang in sack form?
Sure.
I want a sack
Hamburglar.
Yeah, I want a sack hamburger.
I always wanted to be the hamburger.
What was the little
growing up.
pom-pom looking thing? The fry... Was it a fry guy?
Fry guy, yeah.
That was yeah, sack fry guy would be awesome.
Pom-pom?
Dude, they were little balls.
No, you're right. I just never thought of it that way.
Thank you.
This is game development happening right here.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, that looks really cool. Again, they have a lot of the features back. What is going on back there?
Our crew is out.
We've broken our cameraman.
Anyways,
Dude, Tori's gonna die. Call an ambulance.
Let's talk about Batman again.
God,
for a
the
minute.
part in his hair is red.
We brought it up.
Freaking quaff.
We brought it up. Batman, it looks gorgeous, and this is the first time we've seen legit gameplay. They released that trailer like a week ago. It looked really good. It had some gameplay spliced in, but for sure, this is like the first time that we've ever seen,
Straight
full
gameplay,
length,
yeah.
straight gameplay.
It ran well. That was the thing that was
ran
surprising
really well,
to
yeah.
me, considering the reports on that game, that it
Right.
had frame rate problems. It
got
was
pushed.
almost unplayable at the GDC demo.
I'm sure it is a vertical slice.
I will
Trailer
say
game.
something though, like because they did have a lot of sound problems at the very beginning, and then all of a sudden it just the Batman trailer's like, and then at first I was like, oh shit,
And
then,
they cut away, too. They
well, the
cut
Scarecrow
to the
part,
Yeah.
because of their earlier problems and technical problems, when they were doing the intentional screw up to lead into Scarecrow cutting in, everybody was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
it's crashed." But that was a really cool moment.
Scarecrow
Scarecrow
looks
looks
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, he does.
That character model looks great. The Batmobile, for the most part, I'm with, I think you, the tank, morphing mode. I don't want a whole lot of that.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
a
Everyone's
little
the same way, I
bit, a
think.
little bit will go a long way with that. I think it's a cool thing. I think it's a good fast traversal way when you need to. Don't force me to have combat after combat after combat
Yeah.
with the Batmobile.
There'll
I
be-
play that to fight as Batman.
Yeah, and there'll be some Riddler challenges based on
That's
that shooting
yes.
mechanic
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
what it
Yeah, but man, we had right before that happened, and when it started driving through the streets of Gotham, and it was just taking out anything that it ran through, everybody was cheering and getting really
It
amped
was
about
awesome.
that.
It was
And
great.
then it kind of took us down, went in that weird tank mode. At first, it was really awesome the way it started morphing, and I thought it might go into the Batpod type thing from the Dark Knight movies, and instead it was this tank mode where you can strafe back and forth, and it was kind of weird and took us out of it. Just before that, though, you mentioned it earlier, Grand Theft Auto 5, which looks stunning on
Very
PS4.
stunning, yeah.
Coming this fall.
Yep.
I didn't even pick this up. You guys mentioned it. The fact that you can transfer from Xbox 360 for the first time to PS4 and PS3 to PS4 your online progress
Yeah.
from GTA Online. I don't know who's still playing that mode.
There are plenty of people, I'm sure, just not us.
Yeah, I barely got to play it. If everybody picks it up on PS4, that might happen.
I had a really bad day at work, and I wanted to go on a murder spree. So Grand Theft Auto Online is a good place for that.
There's your
Don't
number
get it.
one tip.
Take
Don't
it out
kill
on the
people
video
in
games.
real life. Go to Grand Theft Auto.
You can be the worst person on there.
Yeah, it's true.
That is absolutely fair. Anybody else have a big one? They want.
We're getting Last of Us next month. I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
July
awesome. The
27th?
remastered 27th, 29th, one of the two.
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
29th,
towards the-
yeah.
But DLC included. It looks gorgeous. I've been wanting to play through that again, and I didn't own a PS3, so that's gonna be a great way for me to actually get to go through that game again. That's one
And
of
I'll
the
get
best
to
made
finish
games.
it this time.
Yes, you
Will
totally
you?
should do that.
You'll get to,
I-
but will you?
Yes, you heard it here first.
I think the game looked great, but I think that it didn't look that much better than the PS3 version, and that's just because that game already looked really, really good.
Right.
It's hard to improve on what that style already was, unless they want to completely overhaul the entire game.
If you want to talk, if we're going to talk about how games look, though, I don't think we can not mention the Order.
Yeah, the order
That's a
1986.
good point.
That
good.
That was a
The
movie
best-
that you control.
The best looking game of the show so far.
Ever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Werewolf, lichen, monster thing, whatever, man. It was
When
frightening.
it came
and
out
huge.
of the cutscene into gameplay, it didn't look like you came out of the cutscene.
Yeah.
You just started controlling it. That was amazing.
And that's been the one report from people who actually got to see the Order a couple months ago is that it's really hard to tell when that game is going from cutscene to gameplay.
It'd be very cinematic, yeah.
I'm really excited to see what that game is. Hopefully, it matches that cinematic type gameplay because I thought that looked stellar.
Right.
I'm still a little nervous about the length of the overall game, but as far as the quality of what's on screen while it's there is solid, at least this early on.
For me, it's less about the length of the game. I mean, it could be 4 hours, it could be 12 hours, who knows? But I'm curious if that what we saw tonight was representative of how the game's going to play, because there was very little action and a lot of cutscenes and stuff, which is fine. I mean, I like a cinematic experience. In my games, I like story-heavy games, but I'm curious if that was just what they decided to show tonight, or if the whole game is going to be that heavy on a lot of cutscenes, a lot of cinematics, a lot of moving in and out of whether or not you're controlling the character, that sort of thing. So.
I'm with you on that being a potential downfall. I think the difference between what they showed here is that even when it did take you out of control, it was quick. it bounced back and forth really well from what I could tell, from at least what you can tell, what was gameplay and what wasn't. Is to quick cinematic cutscenes back into the gameplay. I think it managed that pretty well. If the whole game does that, I think it could be okay.
And I don't necessarily think that it would be a detractor. I'm just curious. It kind of makes me confused as to what like the game is going to be. Is it going to be that, or is it mostly going to be a cover-based third-person shooter? And we just happened to see something that wasn't very action-heavy tonight. So.
I was a little disappointed, but we didn't see a ton of gameplay from a lot of games.
No, there was almost no live demos.
Far Cry.
Far Cry 4 was what I was about to bring up.
Forgot all about Far Cry. That was amazing.
That game looks really awesome, and again terrifies me.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably the biggest Far Cry 3 person here. I played it all the way through. I tried to get as many achievements as possible. And
it's so much.
It's a lot. And this game looks like, not only is it more, but it is a huge graphical upgrade. I mean, not that Far Cry 3 didn't look good, but man, the vistas and the Himalayas and the elephants and all that kind of stuff.
Kind of up there.
Super nice.
We're not. Did we find out? Is it co-op campaign?
It seemed to be a co-op story campaign, unlike Far Cry 3, where it's like the separate mode. But it wasn't made super clear tonight, so I'm sure we'll find out soon.
Or if it was maybe if it's a second screen experience where you get to control the helicopter.
That was clearly two people playing a full-on first-person shooter. To me, that seemed very clear. What's unclear is if that's the main story mode or if that's a separate mode, but. To me, I got the impression that they're adding co-op to the story this time, which is a really cool idea.
Great. I mean,
it seems to be a theme.
If there's been a theme of the conference of the entire day of E3, it's been
co-op's been prevalent.
Yeah, co-op multiplayer. That's the thing we're pushing now.
But they also opened with one of the biggest games that's coming out very soon, which is a Destiny.
Right.
And with that, they also announced a new bundle with a white PS4, white controller, 30 days of PS Plus. Copy of Destiny, and no price tag.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be $3.99. That seems the smart move. But yeah, obviously we'll find out soon. Comes out September 9th. Same day that Destiny does. They also talked about some beta stuff.
Yeah, they did.
And some alpha stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, for PlayStation 4 users, alpha goes live this Thursday through the end of the weekend. And then the beta was June...
July.
July
17th?
That sounds right.
Awesome.
July for sure.
Well informed.
Yes.
There was a lot of information.
Go to free4geeks.com and check out all these new specs.
Indeed. I mean, I thought Destiny looked great. That game looks really fun, but it's hard when you don't have that on-stage demo. It's hard to really show what that game is going to be.
Exactly. It was another trailer.
I need to see somebody playing when there is a lot of people playing with them, and that's the only way you'll ever see what this game is like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until we get that, it's kind of hard to tell. Another big one they focus on really heavily is a game called No Man's Sky.
That game is ambitious.
It really, really is.
It's Hello Games, the guys who did Joe Danger on PlayStation.
This is a far cry from Joe Danger.
So, from a 2D platforming motorcycle game to an infinite universe without limits, apparently.
Yeah, it's not open world. Yeah, it's way past that.
Open infinity.
Yeah. The fact that it's all procedurally generated. The question that I had that they didn't address is, will physics be different on each of these worlds? Will that also be randomly generated, do you think?
Maybe.
Different gravity, other things? Because if you can just hop in your ship...
Probably a finite amount.
Fly into orbit and then fly for 5-10 minutes and come to another completely random planet, I think that could be really cool, especially if they play with those...
I mean, it was showing you discovered that. I mean, it's planets that no other person playing this game has ever seen, and every single player, when you begin the game, spawns on a brand new planet. I think that's...
Yeah, you can see when you enter a new planet, it'll say founded by or whatever, this particular whatever gamer tag or PSN ID. So it's impressive. I know they're using some kind of algorithm to procedurally generate all that stuff. So you could essentially go on and on and on and keep discovering new worlds forever, and it will never end. And which is pretty cool.
We could play 100 hours each, and I could never run across you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
That's just crazy to even think about. But I like the art style on it too. I thought it was unique.
Very much.
Yeah, there was dinosaurs on one of those planets at one time.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Dinosaurs and spaceships. That's all I need.
Together.
Yes.
Forever.
That's how Earth was founded.
Friends forever.
I'm learning something new.
You really enjoyed Turok
you should be on Cosmos.
Star Fox Adventure, didn't you?
I did.
I am.
This is actually the spiritual successor to Turok. So
Star Fox.
I'm just making things up at this point.
Star Fox Adventure, I know it's terrible.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Haters. Any other games real quick besides the obvious one?
The game?
No, yeah, let's talk about what they closed the show out with.
Uncharted 4.
Indeed. Good.
I was just gonna say, like, I do believe that was like an in-engine like gameplay cutscene. That game is pretty, if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm less convinced, but either way, yeah, it looks great.
They've always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's the
Uncharted
full title
started
for
with
it?
A
Drake's
Thief's
midlife
End.
crisis.
A thief's end.
Okay.
But yeah, no,
You're
this
close.
is we definitely saw a much older
I couldn't
Nathan
remember.
Drake.
Yeah.
Still somehow voiced over by Sully. This is probably 10, 15 years after the events.
He's
of
old
Uncharted
and at
3.
home, phoning it in a little bit, but yeah.
Did you get the oxygen thing?
Yeah. He's still cool.
True story. Yeah, really quick trailer. Only about a minute and a half, maybe
Still
2
super
minutes. No
exciting,
gameplay, but
Oh,
yeah. I looked at that and I think if that's really how that game looks, one of the games we were most excited about earlier in the day was Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously very similar. They don't stack up next to each other, and I think Tomb Raider looks
Visually,
awesome.
sure.
But yeah, visually, like
And we haven't seen either running an engine or anything like that. I don't think.
I thought some of that Tomb Raider stuff was, but we don't know.
Yeah. To me, neither of them struck me as like actual gameplay footage or anything. But either way, I mean, to me, the exciting part about this, to a degree, and also kind of the sad part is that clearly by the subtitle on this one, like this is probably the last time we ever see Drake.
They are
Right.
pushing that idea, like the one last time coming out of retirement type thing
Right.
with the voiceover.
Yeah,
and
he
then-
looks older and
Yeah.
weathered.
Indeed. And then, calling it a thief's end. You said you don't think that the Uncharted series is done after this. I don't know.
I think they could go on with it. I mean, it depends. I also can see Naughty Dog saying, you know what, no, like we're done with Uncharted. We want to move on and do other things. But they could easily, if they wanted to give it to another studio, it's obviously a game that makes a lot of money. Then I can totally see them doing another Uncharted and it being a new main character. And I'd be fine with that to an extent.
I would
so.
too. And I will say this: no other studio got a cheer just by seeing the freaking Naughty Dog logo pop up.
It happened
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, they are just they're the kings of the industry right now, and like people love them. And by that, people for the most part completely forgot about the crap that was the middle of the Sony conference. Just because all they had to do was go Batman, then holy crap, Uncharted 4. And
Exactly.
It was
all is forgotten.
a great 2 games to finish the show. So
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be good for us.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna wrap us
Well,
on
Sony.
E3 2014 day 1. Come back tomorrow. We're definitely going to be talking about Nintendo and all their digital events that are going on tomorrow, as well as a podcast that's going up tomorrow morning, you think?
Who knows? Depends on how tired I am when we finish talking.
All right.
Next week.
So stay tuned next week for all your breaking E3 coverage. Until then, make sure to check us out at freeforgeeks.com. We appreciate it, guys.
Bye.